Hello everyone, my name is Candace Strickland and I teach English and literature. I'm originally from Texas, but I've called Colorado home for about the last 11 years, and eventually I obtained my undergrad degree from Adams State University in Alamosa, Colorado. The purpose of this video is to talk with you a little bit about effective communication in the college classroom. We're going to talk about my plan for effectively communicating with you. We're going to talk about some challenges you may face with communication and how we can overcome those challenges. And we're also going to talk about how having all of this together, having effective communication, really fosters success for you as a student. Sandra Mitchell Holder says that the goal of communication is to bond, to share information, to be heard, and to be understood. Something I work on daily with my communication skills is listening to understand instead of listening to respond. I want to be able to understand fully what you have to say. So that may mean that I ask you questions to clarify, and I expect you to do the same with me. Before I can help you, I must first really understand what it is you need help with. This is something we all should practice. It's natural for us to want to form a response to what someone is saying even before they stop speaking. And that's because we live in this culture of speaking so fast and instant gratification, but this can cause major rifts in communication. You don't want the person you're speaking to think that you weren't ever listening at all. Something else I strive to do for my students to communicate effectively is to be very clear and intentional with my expectations. This is one reason why every assignment I give you will include a detailed rubric, so that you don't have to stress about formatting and the little things within an assignment that are important, but oftentimes stress students out. I would rather your main priority be communicating to me that you understand the material that we're studying. If you'd like to know why a certain aspect of an assignment exists, ask me. Remember, asking lots of questions is key to effective communication. My last tool for communication is empathy, and to me, this is the most important one. When you communicate with me, I want you to know that I'm putting myself in your shoes, metaphorically, to understand you better. In my opinion, empathy is the number one tool for communicating. Every person we meet and interact with has their own struggles, thinks differently than us, and has their own worldview. It's critical that we listen intently without judgment. I care about you all as students, but more importantly, I care about you as human beings. And that's kind of how you should communicate with everyone around you, because you just don't know what they're going through, and just understand that they're a human being. Listening to understand, communicating with clarity, and being empathetic are only a few major challenges we face in communication, but are the three that apply to every form of communication, from in-person conversations to sending an email. Email is a primary form of communicating in higher education, and it's important that you showcase three things in an email: professionalism, efficiency, and respect. Sending an email to a professor or a classmate is different than texting your friend. And we have to remember to make that switch in our brains. So when you're sending an email, you want to be clear and concise, and you want to get to the point. Remember that through text, tone and inflection a lot of times cannot be understood. So we don't want to be lengthy and chatty in our emails, because our message will get lost in the mess. So you want to make sure that whatever you're needing to ask your classmate or your teacher, etc., that you're very clear and concise, you're professional, and you're respectful. If you are having an issue that you think needs a little more explanation, and maybe your email is seeming a little lengthy, my advice would be to try to schedule an in-person meeting with your professor. So for me, for instance, I have my office hours, and those are posted on the website and in the syllabus. And if there's something that you need from me and you feel like you need to have a real conversation, just meet up with me in person. It's much easier. Your message doesn't get lost in your mess. Sometimes in life, we have disagreements, and this does not change in a college classroom. Many of the tools used for effective communication, however, also apply to de-escalating an argument, no matter who it involves. So whether it's teacher versus student, student versus student, the three strategies I use in an argument are as follows. Listening. Just as in a normal conversation, it's important to really listen to the other person's point of view and what they have to say before we try to generate a response. This is a lot of times what happens in an argument is we're so ready to respond that we're not truly listening to the other person's point of view. Let them know that you understand what they're saying, even if you don't agree with them. We become more open-minded and adaptable when we learn to listen, not just to hear. Listen first, then respond. And respond in a calm, professional manner. If you have something to say, say it, but don't let your emotions get the best of you. Try to keep your voice calm and at a normal talking volume. And always be respectful of the other party. Name calling and personal attacks do nothing but harm each other. If you're too angry or too sad to respond, it's okay to take a deep breath, take a moment, and think about what you need to say, or even come back to it later if that's what you need to do. And thirdly, our body language is so important in conversation. Our bodies communicate in ways that our mouths cannot. It's important to remember not to move closer to someone as you're speaking to them, especially if you're in an argument, and not to make aggressive gestures like pointing at them and things like that. Sudden movements and aggressive gestures can cause people to feel threatened, and especially when our emotions are heightened, it is easier for us to feel threatened. So it would be pretty hard to de-escalate an argument if the other person feels threatened. We're all here for the same purpose, to learn, grow, and succeed. Differing opinions are what help us to do things, but we must be able to handle those conversations without becoming outwardly angry. However, we are humans with real feelings and real emotions that matter. I want everyone to be heard in my classroom. Just as I show respect for you, I expect you to show the same respect to me and to your classmates. When we communicate effectively, we learn more, not only about the content we're studying, but also about each other. In my class, we speak with kindness, understanding, and positivity. We are all partners in success, not competitors, and should be lifting each other up and helping where we can. Honesty, empathy, and clarity are the cornerstones of effective communication. And they are also what will help you succeed when you leave the classroom. Thanks for taking time to watch this video, and I'm looking forward to a great semester.